Hey, beautiful women. It's Naomi Cameron here, Intimacy and Confidence Coach. Welcome to my webinar on Embrace Your Power Confidently. Now, this webinar came about through me wanting to share the how-to skills on how to come from a really low place in self, like low self-worth, not having confidence, having low self-esteem, and, being riddled with that pain and suffering inside, and not really knowing how to move through it. I believe that every woman here has the potential to birth her power because, believe it or not, beautiful, you are similar to every other woman on the earth, where you have this greatest potential inside waiting to be watered and sparked and shared with the world for the greater of humanity. Now, I haven't always been this brave to sit on the other side of the camera and share my wisdom with you. 6 years ago, I started a journey of turning inwards. But prior to that, I lived 26 years of pain and suffering. I had high anxiety, high stress, depression at times. I felt so low in myself that I wasn't deserving of money, a career, a partner, whatever you label as deserving. I didn't think I was able to have it. So after all this pain and torment inside, I went through this experience where I remember laying on my lounge room floor and saying, if this is life, then I want out. But if there is more, Great Spirit or whoever is listening to me, show me another way. And it was in that moment that I made the decision to start looking at other options that were available to me. Because trauma makes us look through a very narrow, pin-focused viewpoint. But when we start to expand out of our trauma patterns, we start to expand our horizons, looking for more opportunity, greater risk. So I started seeking help from professionals that knew about trauma patterns and energy in the body. I started meditating when I traveled through Europe and started to discover that there was this whole universe inside of me waiting to be explored. And for the first time in my life, I believed that I did not have to be burdened by a lifetime of suffering. So it was there that I decided to look under every rock. What would help me remove my trauma, my limitations, my low self-worth? So after 6 years of commitment to showing up in myself, I am now so eager to share with you what I have learned in this webinar. But most importantly, what I want you to get out of this webinar, because it's not about me, it's about you, beautiful. I want you to walk away knowing that you have real value inside, that the world is waiting for, that you are a masterpiece in creation, that every life experience you have is getting you to this foundational moment of total turnaround, that every experience is there to help you rise and grow to the even more magnificent version of yourself that you could dream of. And I'm here to support you on the how. So in 2009, the Dalai Lama said the world will be saved by the Western woman. Now, I believe this even more these days because we have greater accessibility to resources that we have never had before. These are through the global economy and the internet. We have connection to resources such as teaching and education, training to upskill ourselves. We have, believe it or not, even though we're a high-stress society, is we have more time, energy, and finance to invest in ourselves. More than ever, we are breaking through those confines of what it means to be a woman, a happy wife, and exploring new potentials that can be birthed into reality. It is these things that we have greater access to than any other woman in the world. And it's because of that, we are the women that are going to change the world. The only thing it takes is you being willing to take the very first next step. And beautiful, believe it or not, the most valuable relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself, the one you have with your internal reality. So when you are in connection to your emotional landscape, your feeling landscape, and masterfully move through it without it overwhelming you or you being in reaction to the outer world. You then have mastered yourself and they can master the space around you. So when you are able to have a relationship with yourself, you can then have a more healthier, co-empowering relationship with the world you're in. So guess what, beautiful? It is all about being an inside job. Stop searching on the outside, looking for the right partner, the right job, because everything you are waiting for is hidden deeply within. Every answer. And when you find that answer within, everything on the outside magically unfolds to meet it. I'm living proof. And so to give you a real taste of that inner experience, I'm just going to invite you to really connect and ground into your body. So if you feel comfortable, just gently closing your eyes so you can turn your energy and focus inwards. And I want you to put your feet firmly on the floor and just feeling that connection with your feet in relationship to the floor. Noticing if it feels hard or soft, warm, cold. Noticing how it feels on the inside of your foot to feel the connection to the floor. Then feeling your buttocks in connection to the chair and feeling again if that feels warm, cold, soft, numb, tingly. And if your back is against the chair, also feeling that back support. So bringing into your awareness the three parts of you that are in connection to something in this moment. And then really slowly just taking 3 deep breaths in and out of your heart space. Awakening its energies through pure awareness. And just noticing what's present in your heart as you start to connect with her. You may feel numb, warm, cold, closed, open, expansive, tingly, fuzzy, fluid. Whatever you notice is welcomed without interpretation or judgment. And slowly moving your awareness down into your womb space, your tummy. Then taking 3 deep breaths, connecting and feeling into this space. Then in your third eye, just drawing into your imagination, a picture of you embracing your power confidently. How are you holding your body, your posture, your structure? How is your legs and your arms? What do you notice on your face? How do you feel on the inside? As you notice this image of you embracing your power confidently, start to notice your body in this moment. What do you notice as you hold the image of the confident you? Do you notice anything start to change? More relaxed, more peaceful? Has your posture started to align with the posture in the image? Lighter, more energized, inspired? Go back to the image. Keep noticing her. What do you notice now? Does she have a message for you? How does it feel to be in connection with her? Again, just slowly noticing what is happening on the inside of your body as you see this image. What is different now? And then slowly just maybe wiggling your toes and your fingers. And coming back to this moment by opening your eyes. And just noticing what's different now compared to when you first started turning inwards. Even the subtleties are really important to connect in with and notice. So there's two S's that allow a woman to really step into her power confidently. And these are really essential components, beautiful, for you to really embrace who you really are and shine that in the world. And the first one is all about security. Who am I? Security is like that internal reality that we hold about our image of who we believe we are. Where we end and the world begins. Now, security starts to form as we move through the world with our parents in the environment we're in. And generally, we can sometimes take on these rotten beliefs about our inherent worth, that we're not valuable, that our words and our voice is not relevant, that to really gain our heart's desires is not of any importance to the world. How comfortable are you in your own skin? Are you always worried about what other people think of you or how you're making them feel rather than just being comfortable in your own naturalness and not really taking on the responsibility of how other people feel around you? Do you constantly override your inner knowing, your instinctual knowing as a woman? You know, that gut womb feeling where you get that inner pull to take action, or that funny feeling around someone that doesn't quite feel right, or even leaving someone's company and noticing how flat and unhappy you feel inside. Those things, are you overriding them thinking, oh, I should be a good friend, rather than actually honoring your beautiful self? Those sorts of things can really affect your sense of security inside and can keep you small and contracted rather than going and expanding and allowing the greater potential of you to step forward. And then you have the second component, which is all about safety. Now, safety has many things. It can be a physical sense of safety, or it can actually be the fear of felt safety, of threat. Safety happens really from the minute we enter the world, where we keep assessing from the most primal instinctual self, are we safe? Are we safe to expand and relax into our naturalness? This is about, especially around allowing our true essential self to shine. If we don't have really good boundaries of keeping other people's junk outside of us, where we don't feel overwhelmed by the external environment, where other people's mannerisms that are really unhealthy start to affect us and we feel under threat by them. Or we lack the ability to say, no, that's not okay, because we don't want to seem like we're rocking the ship, so to say. These thoughts of things really affect our nervous system and our body structure, which keep us again contracted, tight, and locked in, which don't allow us to really embrace our power confidently. Now, most of us aren't aware of the trigger signs inside our body that let us know that we're not feeling safe. Some of the big things is stress, believe it or not, anxiety, depression, feeling tired and lethargic all the time. Or, you know, those inner states where we're constantly seeking validation, approval, acceptance, attention from someone on the outside world. They are also signs that are showing us that we're not feeling a sense of safety inside our own body vessel. So then the key to that is how do we start to acquire a sense of safety? so that I can feel safe to just be me, rather than again allowing the external environment to dictate who we are in that reality. So, as I mentioned earlier, some of the signs on what affect our ability as a woman to stand and embrace our power confidently is our inner reality. Now, when we don't have control of our inner reality, it almost dictates to us how we're going to react so automatically that we feel like we're a bad person, that we're not good enough, we're not deserving. And sometimes there's scum on the bottom of people's shoes. Like, I really relate to that one. But since I've started to gain control of my inner reality and my emotional state, I now no longer let anyone walk over me. I sustain really strong boundaries. I have the ability to say no. And I'm not reactive to other people's poor behavior. So, what is happening on the inside for you when this starts to happen is our body system in the green line that you can see there is a normal range. So, when we feel triggered or activated by an external reality, in, in a healthy way, we feel that spike inside, like this increase or rising energy inside. But instead of staying stuck on like anxiety, stress, holding on to emotions like we want to make someone feel wrong for how we're feeling, we can actually let it go and move through it really regulated. Now, that is a really healthy person, but believe it or not, majority of society are not sitting in a healthy range. We are actually more stuck on the on or off. Stuck on is when our sympathetic nervous system switches on, like we want to fight or flight. This is like where we start to feel an increase in our heart rate. We start sweating, our pupils are dilating. So we're coming on for a potential threat. Now, the healthy version is excitation. It's okay to feel excited and on, but what happens when we're feeling under threat and we're stuck on and something needs to happen? So it becomes an emotional flooding. We become hyper vigilant, or we are unable to sleep, like we have chronic thoughts flooding our thinking process. These sorts of things are when we're stuck in the unhealthy range. Now, if we're stuck on for a significant amount of time, that sometimes flicks over into the switch off, which is the parasympathetic, where we want to sleep all the time. We're not digesting our food properly. We feel flat. We have chronic fatigue. Depression kicks in on this point. These are another warning signs that something in our nervous system is not feeling complete or able to regulate itself. There is something stuck on the inside from our past experiencing where we can't relax and move through life in a more harmonious way, and therefore with greater power and confidence. The whole important thing here is to how do we start to find cohesion back inside our body? So when we're stuck on or off, it's like this inner fight, this inner struggle inside. You know where you want to be, but yet the body is hijacking you in a way where it's creating all this inner tension. So how do we let go of that tension just enough to find more space and more pleasure inside and find an alignment so that we're not in war with ourselves all the time? And beautiful. The essential key to it is really about turning your focus inwards, because the most powerful relationship you will have is with yourself. And that comes down to no longer avoiding yourself, dismissing yourself. Like, it crushes my heart when a woman belittles herself or puts herself down for feeling a certain way. Like, she shouldn't be feeling this thought or feeling because it's wrong, or excuses or procrastination, like I'll get to it later. Those thoughts that I'm not good enough, I'm a bad person, these are all about how you relate to yourself, how unlovable you are, how low worth you are. So I really invite you now to do a quick assessment, a check-in with yourself around how are you with yourself? Do you actually have a healthy, thriving inner voice and capacity inside to hold what is arising through sensation or emotion, or do you avoid it through drugs and alcohol, toxic relationships, or putting yourself down? There's some assessments you can quickly do. Now, to manage these uncomfortable states inside, we tend to rely on what we've learnt from the past, which is generally an unhealthy management strategy. The self-soothing in the unhealthy department is, as I mentioned earlier, drugs and alcohol, or can be sex addiction. It can be behaviors that are really nourishing, like reaching for the fifth cup of coffee instead of pausing on the first one. Heaps of chocolate, binging on Facebook or Netflix. Things like this are an attempt of your system to soothe the uncomfortable system inside, and is really a signal that you're sort of maxed out in your capacity to find a healthy way to move through that inner dysregulation. Again, that's all searching on the outside for a quick fix. So you have short-term gain for long-term pain, meaning you don't really get to the core wound and clear the long-term pain effects. So you're sedating yourself in a way. And when the sedation evaporates, again, the pain comes back. Rather than if you flip it the other way, where you have short-term pain by experiencing that discomfort for long-term gain, where you get to the core trauma effect and eradicate it from your system, therefore no longer needing to sedate yourself, which is wonderful, right? And limited resource and skills. Beautiful. Be gentle on yourself. Be kind. Be compassionate. Compassion is like a warmth of acceptance, because you've grown up in your life with limited resources. Your parents had limited skills. They probably aren't even aware of the effects that they had on you, whether they were stressed financially, relationship issues, any stress that they were affected would cause them to be unable to attune to your child self, and therefore you encoding that you're the problem. And when you've learned a limited capacity to deal with that inner dysregulation of feeling bad, I'm not good enough, then it's really a key to learning how to retrain yourself, re-adult yourself as your own inner mother to your inner child. Now, this is actually a huge gateway of initiation for a woman to learn how to mother herself. So she eradicates the obligation of her own mother to deal with her, so that then you become your own inner parent in a healthy way, dealing with that child parts that haven't yet matured properly. And that's a thing for every woman to go through. And also the big one is the self-talk. Like, when you feel the unsettledness inside, you can talk to yourself in a healthy way, going, it's all right, darling, I'm here with you, I'm present for you as long as you need to move through. Or you can say, you shouldn't be feeling like that, punish yourself by withdrawing until the emotion eradicates. Now, I am a big old withdrawer until the tides of emotion pass. I'm not so much like that anymore, because I can move through it a little bit more effortlessly, but it's not a happy place when you isolate. It's actually a trauma pattern full of shame. And I'm here to say, beautiful, that you don't actually have to live with that burden of shame of feeling like you're not okay for what you're experiencing. So I actually came up with this whiz-bang acronym to help you remember the steps on how to start embracing your own power as a woman. And the first one is proactive. So proactive is really about the ability to gauge and take action. So as you recall that moment where I fell on my kitchen floor, on my laundry room floor, in a little heaped fetal position, going, okay, great spirit, what do I need to do to change my reality? And it was from that moment that I made the decision internally to take new action. So beautiful. Where have you been hesitating? Where have you been pausing? Where have you pressing the stop button on you actually taking some proactive steps to say, yes, I want the change. I want to embrace my power confidently, because it has to come from the inside. Remember, it's an inside job. It has to come from your desire and your inner heart pool. You have to do something different. All the strategies, all the tools that you have learned from your life experience is not enough. That means you have to do something differently. You have to look outside the square that you're used to being in, outside your comfort zone, and into a new form, a new, better version of yourself. saying yes to you. Your self-worth loves to come in and say you're not worth investing in yourself, saying you're worth it. Woohoo! It loves to put so many blocks in the way. But even if it wants to put the blocks down, how daring you to say, I'm going to go for it anyways. And the next essential element is set an intention. What do you want? Do you want to feel more happy and at peace and in control? Do you want to feel excited by life and in love and hold a space of compassion? Do you want to feel free? What do you want, beautiful? Like, if you can connect with what you really want, think big, because the bigger you think, the greater your dreams and potential. If you set the intention, it sets like a goalpost of what you can aim for. And when you set that goalpost, things will magically appear in your life, opportunities, people, places, training to invite you to take that leap. Now, that comes into your ability to engage and take action when the opportunity arises. So do you see all the interlinking connection here? If you set the intention, you take the action to do something differently and say yes to you, that is the whole first step of being proactive. It's a big first step. The next step is authenticity, true to one's own spirit or character. This is about starting to shred away all those beliefs, those imposed conditions that you have grown up with, beautiful, that makes you conform yourself into a round hole when actually you're a star hole. Or when you feel like you're a turkey and yet inside you're a beautiful phoenix waiting to spread her beautiful wings out in the world. How can you stand true to your own beautiful heart, your own spirit and character? Breaking away from all those confinements telling you to stay stuck and conform because that's all you've known and that's how the environment you've grown up in and the people you've been with tell you how you have to be. How daring are you to be courageous and own your beauty, own your shining, own your power, because in that is your own genuine authenticity that has some great value to offer the world. And here's another big one. So most of us get this order really wrong. So the first one, self first, life, then others. Most people put others first, their emotional needs, attending to what they need in the physical reality, rather than themselves first. So I've got a question for you. If you are sitting on an aeroplane and the oxygen mask comes down and you've got two of your best friends or your children or your lover beside you, are you going to put the mask on them first? And if so, if you run out of oxygen, are you any good to them? I hope you say no. If you run out of oxygen whilst trying to put a mask on them, what good are you to anyone else on the plane, including yourself? Not very good. So the key is putting on the mask of you first, then tend to the life around you and then others. It's the same in everyday life, beautiful. Tend to your own inner emotional reality first. Place yourself as the number one priority because then you don't merge in codependent relationships. You then allow yourself to live in your true, authentic alignment to your own character. You then also birth your heart's desires and not feel guilty or wrong for doing that. And then magically, believe it or not, beautiful, everything that you desire, including that lover, the partner, the career, the children, the money, the abundance in any way, form that you desire will start to emerge organically. It's when you have the other order all the other way around is that you're still living in a contracted form of thinking that you have to please the outside world and neglecting your own self. It doesn't work like that. If you start to cease the neglection of you, start to fill yourself up, explore and inquire, then you open up to greater potential. And the last one is all about honesty, your level of integrity and accountability to yourself. How honest are you really being with yourself? Like, are you deceiving, dismissing yourself, ignoring who you are, and like trying to avoid who you really are? No more ignorance. And when I say no more ignorance, it's like no more blaming the outside world for creating a response in you or a reaction for the emotional trigger. It is your choice to have a response to the outside world, regardless of their poor behavior. They're going to continue living their poor behavior, but it's only your choice on how you want to respond to it. And that's where the inner world work is really important. So, no matter what the person in front of you is doing, you feel in control of yourself, you feel regulated, you feel empowered and confident as you move through the world. So you're not leaking energy, not feeling triggered by people, and you get on with business. You get on with living your life rather than worrying about all these other things that are just waste your time and energy. So there's this amazing poem by Marianne Williamson. I don't know if you've heard it before, but it's one I frequently refer to in my own journey to remind me, because it's, on our journey, it's like ripping layers away, and more layers and more layers. And this is actually the gift of being human. When you start to evolve and really turn inwards, these burden as suffering and pain patterns actually become a great opportunity. So it sort of flips it around and becomes a reframe. It's not like a burden, it's an opportunity to explore more of our potential in this human form. So I'm going to read you the poem, beautiful, and maybe just close your eyes and notice what you start to feel on the inside. What holds us back in our lives is our fear. And sometimes when you take a very close look, you find out your fears are not exactly what you thought they were. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? But actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us. So just noticing what arises in you as you connect with that. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So it's holy work to move past your own fear. It doesn't just help you, it helps the world. So beautiful. As a woman, as an adult, you have something that you never had as a child. You have autonomy, individuality, agency, and freedom. So, what does that mean? That pretty much means that you now have the autonomy to be your true self in a greater structure. You don't have to conform to everyone else's conditions, that it's actually safe and invited that you be your free, independent self so that you can contribute to the greater good of the collective, and that is your autonomy. You have individuality. You don't have to conform to your parents and your siblings and your education or economics structure that you were inherited with. You can actually step out of that and birth your own dreaming that is so much more expansive. You have agency, so you have more access to reach for the resources and healthy support rather than being stuck with parents that aren't very aware and their system is under significant duress. And most of all, you now have the freedom. You are the Western woman that's going to change the world. You better believe it, beautiful. You are one of the key parts of change in this world. So, where does your power come from? Believe it or not, 55% is your body language. And as you see, only 38% is the tone of your voice, 70% is words. So, when I facilitate and hold space, the whole time my body language is transmitting a message. And your nervous system, your body system is going to be picking up, is she safe? Can I trust her? And through that, you will either be able to relax or feel constricted. And then when you feel that, it's about learning how to move through it so that you feel more comfortable and more relaxed in your own skin. Also, thinking about someone standing on stage talking to a broad audience. If you're like shumped over your arms are crossed over your body, your head's down, you're not making eye contact, how do you think that's going to be received by the audience? It's going to make you feel like, oh, she's not that confident in her message. Her tone of voice will also be affected because her channel of breathway isn't open. Those sorts of things are really going to affect your sense of power. So I invite you to think about that power stance that I invited you to imagine in your mind's eye. So whether you're standing like a Wonder Woman pose with your hands on your hips, with your legs apart and firmly grounded on the floor, that is power. An open heart and chest, an open face, allowing people to see you, shoulders back, relaxed. These sorts of things is really communicating your sense and level of power. So there is actually an exercise that you can do by yourself at home, and that's spending 1 to 2 minutes a day standing in your power pose and just pausing and breathing and feeling her, feeling what it's like to actually stand in that sense of personal power. Now, it may feel strange and weird and silly, but I really strongly recommend you do it because you're actually recapitulating your nervous system. You're recapitulating your brain pathway so that you can actually know that this is the new you, the new potential birth through your body system. Yes, beautiful. You are worth the investment. So I hear a lot of women going, oh, I have such low worth. Oh, that's a lot of money. I'm not worth that investment. Even though the opportunity is like smacking them in the face, they find some excuse, some rationale to come them out of actually taking the risk and saying, yes, I'm worth it. People place so much value on something external rather than on themselves. And I'm here to say that you are priceless. You are worth more than gold. I remember the first time I invested in a personal coach and I spent 2.5 grand and I cried for 2 days going, oh my God, what have I done? This is just disastrous. And after that time spent with that coach, I said that was the best investment I've ever done, more than the car I bought, the house I've got, the makeup I buy, whatever it is for you. I have to say that feeling good on the inside does not compare to anything on the outside. The only thing is you have to take the proactive step to say, yes, I'm worth it. Even with those doubts and worth issues that want to come in and say no and hijack it, stay strong to your heart's desire, beautiful, because it will pay off. I'm living proof. I've spent well over tens of thousands of dollars on self-growth and investment. And I have to say that I would do it all over again. And this is a co-empowering triangle that I teach in my first level 1 Power of Confidence workshop. And this is about how do I really co-empower myself firstly and then others. So really it's about deep listening, which is the idea in top-end Indigenous traditional language is how well am I able to listen to myself and the world around me? How well can I listen to nature and listen to its message it's sending me, or my body? What is my body communicating to me? When it feels tight and contracted, am I listening to it to move through it and feel a little bit more space and feel more comfortable inside? Or am I just amplifying? Am I trying to quench in? How deep listening? Am I listening to my body's internal instinctual wisdom? Am I owning my own experience, or do I continue blaming others? So using I statements, I am feeling angry. No, you're making me angry. I'm feeling so sad right now. My heart just feels so hurt. You hurt me. You're the problem. You fix yourself. Does everyone get the energy difference? True power comes from owning your vulnerability, and vulnerability is I statements. And that last one in the left corner that you can't really see right now is permission to challenge and support. So gift yourself the permission to challenge what's really going on inside rather than just accepting it. Get the right support. Seek support that's going to challenge you in a healthy way and not almost conform with your already present state. So, for example, some of the best people are the people that don't agree with me. They challenge me in such a way that it's uncomfortable, but I know there's some truth and validity in my system going, oh, I'm going to explore that. Because it generally, when people go to other people, when they've got a problem, they seek for conformity. And really, that's not really solving the problem. It's just sort of acknowledging your current inner state as true and valid, when in actual fact, it may not. So, how can you find more supportive, co empowering people in your life? By not only challenging yourself, but you starting to challenge others as well. All right, beautiful. If you haven't already, get online and connect with me. Doing it alone is outdated and actually an old trauma pattern that isn't supportive of you and the dream and the greater collective dream. It actually keeps you more stuck. So connect with my website, connect with me on Facebook, and connect with me on Instagram there. You have the connections. Beautiful. I'm here to say you do not have to do it alone anymore. Jump in, stay connected. Feel empowered by this growing sisterhood that is happening collectively. And beautiful, this last message, that if you're waiting for some day, some person, something, then you'll be waiting a lifetime. You are the person you've been waiting for. There's a beautiful quote that I took from Lily Tornan, and I've always wondered why somebody didn't do something about that. Then I realized that I am somebody. For a long time, I questioned why no one would save me out of my childhood pain and trauma that I experienced growing up with my parents. Why no one helped my siblings out of the pain or standing up for my sisters or for me when we were subject to, at times, emotional and sometimes physical assault. And I realized that as an adult, it's all about me going in and dealing with that and being my own competent protector. How can I go in and protect myself so that those patterns aren't going to be reoccurring in my lifetime, and everything I heal in myself heals 7 generations forward and back. So when I heal what's going on in me, I heal the 7 generations that are to come down my generation line. And I also start to heal the energetic patterns that are carrying 7 generations before me. Because believe it or not, beautiful, you are already an energetic pattern in your great grandmother's womb space. So you're already inheriting her energetic patterns. So it's up to you to change your patterns in your nervous system, in your body, your cellular structure, to create the change that you desire in the world that you live. Now, talking about investing, I offer one-on-one confidence coaching for women, which is a unique somatic approach to help you connect with your body in a new empowered way so that you can actually learn how to negotiate and move through emotional states and the unsettledness inside to find greater equilibrium and balance to go after what you really desire in life. So if you feel an inner spark or an inner calling inside to go for this, then I strongly recommend you PM me or you email me at admin@naomicameron.com to reach out and discuss the possibilities in this. And lastly, I hold workshops. I have level 1, the Heart of Confidence. Level 2, the Heart of Courage. And the third one is the Pathway to Freedom. I'm about to sneeze. Now, these are totally transformative workshops. The women never walk out the same. They feel clear, they feel more grounded, they feel more connected to their heart's desire. And it's all about turning you inwards and reconnecting with your power. Beautiful. Wow, yeah, that's full. My next Heart of Confidence workshops are coming up in Alice Springs. They're coming up in Mullumbimby and also Toowoomba. So this is very exciting. I'm starting to branch out. So jump on board, PM me or email me for further information, beautiful. All right, I finished at perfect timing, 45 minutes. Woohoo! So with love, beautiful, I hope you took some key things out of this webinar. Journal about some of the key points that you learned, some of the things that are activated or stirring inside, just to help integrate that wisdom more. And beautiful, I recommend connecting with your beautiful body, learning how to stand strong in your power, because you have something so valuable to offer this world that only you can access. So much love. Mwah.